Whee! Alright, so you guys asked me, what is the best sorcerer rotation and build? Okay? I got you. I got you covered. The best sorcerer rotation and build I have made, using guides and stuff online, a Chaos Dungeon build and a raid build. There's also PvP to consider, but I can cover that in another video because that'll take too long. We'll start with Chaos Dungeons, right? Because it's the build that you want to do when you're hitting lots of little baby targets, so you can afford to have spells that keep you in place, right? And then the raid one is the build that, you know, you want to kind of cast shit while you're on the fly, depending on your engravings. Your engravings, we should know, for Sorceress is either Igniter or Reflux. Igniter is for burst damage, and then Reflux is for consistent DPS, right? Reflux makes you cast faster, do a little bit more damage consistently all the time. Igniter makes you do a metric fuck ton buttload of damage every time you have your Z ability up. Alright, so before we even begin, we're going to look at our spells here. I will put a link in the description below of the exact build I'm using, and you can see why I'm putting all these spells into these tripods, right? The basic name of the game for Chaos Dungeon specifically is AoE. AoE, the bigger the better. The faster you clear the dungeon, the faster you can get on with your life and do other stuff. First of all, in Chaos Dungeons, and in any content really, don't be afraid of using your Awakening ability. Let's begin by running into these little Orbeez that give you move speed, okay? You gather up all these little nerdies. Come on, buds, come on. Look at the minimap. You gather them all up, okay? Okay, gather them up. And you immediately start off with one of your AoE spells. With Sorceress, it's really easy, really forgiving. I just go in with the ice, right? They're all stuck in there. They're dead. That's just one fucking ability. It don't matter. W, let me show you what W does, right? You put it down, and they get sucked into the center of it. See? They're all getting pulled into the center. Meaning I can follow up with my other abilities. At this point in Chaos Dungeons, your rotation is rinse and repeat. You're just using AoE spells to kill as many minions as fast as possible. Now, the second level of the Chaos Dungeons is where I use my Awakening. You see, look at the minimap. You see those little devil horn guys? And every time you kill a boss in Chaos Dungeons, your cooldowns get reset a little bit, refunded. So I'm going to use my Awakening. Boom. They're all dead. It went from a 4-minute cooldown to just 55 seconds. So don't be afraid of using your Awakenings. Okay, the boss spawned. Ready? Another Awakening. Boom. Bam. It's dead. Congratulations. You've learned how to be a sorceress. Alright, now we're going to take a look at the raid spec. It's going to be a little bit different because it's going to prioritize mobility and quick casting spells, because most raid bosses are very mobile, and we have to remember that the stat that we are prioritizing is specialization, right? Higher specialization equals your Z gauge, the little blue bar, filling up faster. And the faster that fills up, the more often we can press the Z button. And that's where the Igniter engraving specializes in. We need to do more damage with our Z button. That's the build that this whole thing revolves around. Sure, you can look at a guide and follow it, but get comfortable with abilities and change it up. Maybe you don't like Charge Flame. Maybe you like Flame Expansion for the extra AoE. Maybe you can change it up per scenario, per boss. Maybe you have a boss that's very fucking mobile and you want to have Charge Flame because you might miss the first Q, so you have the second Q lined up, right? If you do Flame Expansion, it puts a bunch of flame on the ground. What if the monster's mobile and it just walks out, right? So think about this shit, but get comfortable first, right? So this is Raid Boy time. I'm gonna try to counter Al. Alright, and with that, let me explain the basics of raiding. Your rotation as an Igniter Sorceress will be to send off your long casting abilities when you know they can land, and to constantly use your instant cast abilities when the boss is a little bit more mobile. My big heavy hitting abilities are my E, my F, and my D. And when those are on cooldown, we have to constantly be moving and spamming our Q, our R, our S, sometimes our W. when we have enough Z gauge, we press the Z button, and all these rules go out the window because of the insane cast times. Spam your heavy hitters, roll your head on the keyboard, just make sure that the abilities land. Hold off on using your A because we want to use that just in case the boss uses an ability that we can counter. If not, then just spam that as well. Remember that the name of the game is to increase our Z gauge as fast as possible, and that means using spells as fast as possible, including our Awakening, which has a lot of stagger damage, which I should mention, stagger abilities are super important to raids and abyssal dungeons. For example, your F over here, the lightning ability, that has a high stagger damage. Read your spells, see what they do. Some of them will have weak point, some of them will have stagger damage, some of them will have super armor, paralysis immunity. Read your abilities, see what they do. Dodge that. Pop my Z, go D. Boom, big doomsday. Big doomsday. Well, hopefully this guide was helpful. Let me know if you guys have any questions, because I definitely didn't cover all of the intricacies that comes with playing a class. There is no best build or best way to play. There's the min-max optimal shit that you can do, but remember, your gameplay, your style, your preference, that's optimal. Do things that are comfortable with you. I personally like to be more mobile and I like to have more burst, but maybe you like more consistent DPS. Maybe you like, instead of Igniter, maybe you like Reflux. So keep that in mind. Be safe. Let me know what happens. Join the Discord if you need any more help. And see you next time.